And welcome back to the Dog Bowl Food Truck. And let me tell you, doing Kudzu's voice plays a little havoc on my throat, but just a little bit of discomfort is absolutely worth it for making sure you guys have the best that I can offer. Let's pick up right where we left off with Kudzu giving us a little bit of an exposition dump, but it feels like a natural dialogue exchange. So, let's continue. After everything I've seen, I just don't know. Well, I think trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Fuck, I can't read. I'm gonna leave that in. I think trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. Well, we need to find Leo at least. Kudzu nods, like he's already thought about that. Then maybe get my car and at least try to leave. Kudzu doesn't say anything to that. But if we can't leave, for whatever reason, then we at least have to find the rest of my friends. I look at Kudzu. Well, I do. I don't know what you're gonna be. Kudzu gives me a wry smile. Well, I don't have to be anywhere else to... Fuck, I can't read today. I need to go to bed. Well, I don't have anywhere else to go, aside from out of here. Besides, I owe it to Leo to get him out. I feel a warm rush of relief flow over me, knowing Kudzu will be with me. I don't think I'd be able to do any of this alone. Heck you, phone. Out here interrupting my recording. So we're gonna go get Leo? Kudzu nods. Well, I am at least. You should really stay here and get some more rest after what you went through. Of course, I'd rather stay here and hide until Kudzu comes back, but Leo tried to save me back at the diner, risked his life to do it. After everything Leo had done for me, I owe him too. No, I'm gonna go with you. Kudzu shakes his head. I don't think so. It'll make things easier if it's just me. Kudzu shifts, looking toward the kitchen. Besides, I'll have Leo's gun with me in case something goes wrong. He was my boyfriend. I can't just sit here while you save him. Kudzu pauses. Listen, I know Leo, and I know he would never want me to bring you into something like this. Yeah, well, Leo not wanting me to do something never stopped me before. No comment. Getting defiant like this is making me feel better. It gives me purpose again. Kudzu looked like he's about to shake his head again, but I continue. Besides, it might help things. One of us could go in while the other distracts Duke or something. Kudzu looks unsure, so I press my advantage. And if something goes wrong, one of us would be there to help the other. Kudzu pulls at one of his whiskers. Maybe. If it's just Duke there. He might not even be there. He might be at Brian's trailer or somewhere else around town. Kudzu sighs, then looks me right in the eyes. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm not, but I nod anyway. There's the Sunday title card. There we go. I am so ready for this. We try to keep off the road and the brush on our way to Duke's house. Despite our situation, the biggest thing on my mind right now is ticks. Ah, God, me too. God, I just immediately had like a phantom pain of like a chigger bite. Oh God, those things were the worst. Funny how the mind works. Oh, real quick, this is also a quick important thing. My episodes from Fran Bow and Tiny Bunny last month. Please tell me how you guys liked the audio quality there. Like, how did I sound? I know you probably will have already. But let me know how I sounded. Let me know how you liked that. I'm still kind of experimenting a little bit with microphone placement to make editing easier for me because there's a lot of breath and mouth noises that I cut out for you guys. The faint shouts and yells coming from the town are more frequent now. Another pop comes from that direction. It reminds me of the gun Kudzu has tucked into his waistband. He's never used one before, and it took us a solid couple of minutes to decide if we should even stick it there. Another pop. I can't help but think that's trying whenever you're writing, avoid that. This is just me talking to any people who might need to write essays or something in the future. Avoid doing that. I can't help but think that that's where the motel is, where Jenna might be. Here, though, not much is out of place, aside from the smell of smoke on the breeze. That is until we come across a body hanging from a tree about 100 yards from Duke's house. I'm the first to notice it, and when I do, I gasp and instinctively reach for Kudzu. He catches my hand, then looks up as he holds on to me. It's high up, maybe 50 feet, but from the markings on the fur, I think it's a fox. Oh, Jesus. Kudzu whispers next to me as I look away, feeling my stomach turn again. Actually, that's a quick question. What species is Jesus in this world? Or is that like a hotly contested topic? Write in the comments down below. What species is Jesus in the furry world? If I had to just pull one, maybe a lion. What the? How did he get up there? I look back and see that he's hanging by his wrists. I don't think he could have done that by himself. Yeah. We both stare up at him for a little while longer, long enough to notice the long, vertical slashes down his back. Those are the same cuts I saw on the other guy. Kudzu whispers distractedly. But who put him up there? Kudzu's silent, and I keep staring at the guy. The first dead guy that I've ever seen. Suddenly, all of my motivation to get Leo starts to evaporate. Kudzu rests a hand on my shoulder and I jump. Sorry. Kudzu pats me. You alright? I'll take you back, okay? That sounded like the best idea in the world right now. I hesitate. When I think of Leo, I imagine him in the same situation as I was with Brian. Duke didn't seem as fucked up, but I have no idea what he's capable of. That thought makes it feel as if my heart is dropping through the ground, so I grit my teeth and shake my head. No. No, I'm okay. Kudzu looks at me closely, then nods. Okay, let's move back towards the road, though. I don't think anyone is around right now, anyway. I want to move towards the road, too, mainly because I'm actually starting to worry that moving further away from town is really dangerous. Duke's house is dark as we approach it. As we get closer, though, I see flashes of light from a window well. We both crouch next to the house behind a small cluster of sagebrush. Alright, so all I can really think to do is knock on the door, see if he's there. I swallow. You stay hiding, of course. But if he does come out, I don't know. I may try to put him down right there. Then I'd come out and help. Kudzu lets out a low chuckle. Yeah. But again, I'm not sure if that's what I'll do. We might be able to talk him out of this. Yeah. I don't have much faith in that plan. I mean, Kudzu's charisma score is probably like a solid 8 or a 9, so fair. But if he isn't there, well, we'll probably go in and find Leo. Alright? Okay. My heart rate picks up as I realize how close we are to making this happen. I start to have second thoughts. Maybe we should have at least looked for the sheriff? Maybe we should have gone straight to the motel? Alright. I could tell Kudzu is nervous too, as he wipes his hand on his tank top before standing up slowly. Just watch from here. If he comes out with his gun, though, I'm not going to try anything. He hesitates. And if I get shot or something, don't help. Just run back to my house and start looking for your other friends, I guess. Now I'm really starting to feel unprepared for all of this. Everything is moving way too fast. There isn't really any time, though. We have to save Leo as soon as possible. There's no telling what Duke might be doing with him. As Kudzu starts to move away, I get the urge to hug him. He's done so much for me already, saving me and now trying to save Leo, but by now he's already halfway across the yard. To the house. I hold my breath and watch as Kudzu's dark form melds in with the blackness of the house. It's like he's being swallowed up by it in a way. After a few moments, I hear him knock on the door. I listen, trying to breathe through my mouth instead of my whistling nose so I can better hear what's going on. Kudzu knocks again, much more loudly. Hey, it's Kud. I need some help. I look up and down the road, worried someone's going to hear his shouting. There's a slight rustling behind me, and I look back, eyes wide. I don't see anything at first, but then I feel like there's a shape behind another grove of sagebush, about 20 feet back. Something crouched in the moonlight, defining its shape through the brush. I squint, completely stopping my breathing. It looks like it has a tail, a really thick one, like an otter. Was it Dale? I can't even tell if it really is a person, though. Chase! Kudzu whisper shouts, and I jump before stumbling to my feet. The shape behind me doesn't move at all, and I try to reassure myself that it's probably a rock. I jog over to Kudzu as he tries the door, trying not to think too much about what I just saw. Locked. He looks around for a while, then starts moving down to the side of the house. Look for a window. Are we gonna break one? Maybe. Should only take us a few minutes to sweep the house, then we can get the hell out. We quickly spot a window on the back of the house. Kudzu looks in and bites his lip. I'm just worried that Duke might still be in there with a gun or something. He bends over, picking up a sizable rock. Well, not much choice. If I say run, run. Got it? I nod, and Kudzu lifts the rock above his head before smashing it through the window. The sound is probably the loudest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Man, okay, so why did Carl get Raven and Leo gets Kudzu? Can I have an explanation on that? Like, this ain't fair, y'all. I feel whatever. I cover my own ears, like that's gonna lessen the sound. Kudzu jumps to the side, away from the window, reaching back to hold onto me. The fur on Kudzu's body fuzzes up. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought his model had actually changed, or his sprite. Frizzes up, and I see his ears perked up as far as they can go. Once the final tinkling of glass subsides, we both listen. My ears are ringing, but the only other sound I can hear are the chirping of the crickets. Finally, Kudzu lets out a soft breath. Alright, let's go. I help him push out a few more shards of glass. Once that's done, the raccoon hoists himself inside, very carefully, maneuvering around the sharp, broken edges. Yeah, isn't it canonical that nobody in Echo wears shoes because somebody has a paw fetish? I don't know. Somebody, if one of the Echo aficionados that watches this will be sure to let me know. He turns and reaches out to me, helping me through in the same fashion. Yeah, I've been in this house too. Even though I'm trying to be careful, when I bring my arm in, it drags along a jagged edge of glass, sticking out from the side. Yeah, that'd do it! I grimace, the fiery pain taking a moment to really set in. Shit, you okay? He grabs my wrist so he can pull my arm up to examine it by moonlight and sucks in a breath. Oh fuck, you might need stitches for that. That's when I see the blood starting to ooze up from the fur. It's only about an inch long, but the amount of blood coming out is surprising. Damn it. I'll take care of it after we find Leo. I put my arm away, despite Kudzu trying to take a look at it. Alright, I'll see if we can find something to wrap it up in. Kudzu starts fumbling along the wall and finds a light switch. I'm surprised to see a fairly quaint and tidy home. Unlike Kudzu's trailer, though, there's barely anything in it. There's a single sofa, a very old-fashioned TV in what I presume is the living room. There's a fireplace and a few dirty-looking chairs on either end of the room. In front of us is a long hallway with a few doors on both sides. Alright, check every room and door. It's not a very big house. Kudzu sets off down the hall. Look for stairs. I feel like he'd be in the basement. As Kudzu goes into a room to the left, I peer into one on the right. It looks like a bedroom with a single twin in the middle of the room. I take a few steps in, looking around and not seeing anything else. When I turn back around, I do see some picture frames hung up on the wall. Seems kind of odd for someone like Duke to have those up. In a picture, I see a much, much younger Duke, or at least a pre-meth Duke. Next to him is a female weasel, her smile small compared to Duke's tooth-bearing grin. She's in the three other pictures next to that one, too. Weird. I wouldn't have thought anybody would want to be with Duke, especially someone as pretty as that weasel. I move on to the next room, and this one is completely empty, painted white. The next door, down, is the last one on the right side of the hall. This is the only door that's closed, and like the last year's walls, it's painted white. It's taller and seems to be a bit thicker than the other doors. When I try the knob, it's locked. Kudzu? I whisper, and Kudzu pokes his head out from the door just behind me. What's up? I point at the door in front of me. This one's locked. Kudzu stands in front of the door and presses his ear to it. I see his hand hover in front of the crack between the door and its frame. Then he reaches out to my hand and pulls it up to the same spot. He looks at me. You feel that? I'm about to say no, but that's when there's a noticeably cooler draft coming from within. It's kind of cold. The basement. I bet my ass that Leo's down there. I swallow. Should we try to break down the door or something? I don't. Kudzu's ears suddenly perk up, straight, and his eyes widen. My fur bristles out. What? That's when I hear it. The crunching of gravel. Kudzu grabs my arm and starts pushing me back down the hall towards the back room with the broken window. At that moment, I hear the knob turn, and suddenly my path changes direction as Kudzu steers me into a room on our left. It's one of the rooms I hadn't looked into myself, and I see it's a storage room. Boxes are everywhere, and so is a bunch of junk. I guess that explains why the other rooms are so spotless, and that he's not using his basement for storage. Kudzu looks around desperately for a moment, then pulls me behind a mound of boxes just as I hear the door swing open. The problem ain't that he got away! Duke is practically screeching when he comes inside, as if he's been waiting to be indoors before he yelled. Underneath Duke's pattering feet on the wood floor, I hear two loud thumps, and I know immediately who's with him. My blood runs cold, and my breathing seems to stop, worried that they'll be able to hear even that. If he's behind all this, he's gonna make things so much worse. I hear a non-committal grunt from the bear, and I shudder at the sound of his voice again. I feel a light touch on my back as Kudzu rests his hand there, trying to comfort me. What do you mean? Huh? You like the dreams you're having right now? 'Cause trust me, it's gonna get a hell of a lot worse. I hear a smacking sound, which I imagine is Duke's tiny hand trying to slap Brian in the face. What the fuck you staring at? Duke's grating nasally voice echoes around the carpetless house. Your window. There's a moment of silence as I hear some shifting around. Then suddenly I hear Duke's footsteps bustle down the hall. I duck more deeply behind the boxes as he passes the doorway to our room. Fuck! Is someone fucking in here? Brian's lumbered down the hall, basically standing right in front of our room. I hear two more thumps and a bunch of rustling as Duke ineffectively beats at the bear's bulk. Fucking idiot, they broke in! I hear a jingling of keys as Duke continues to shout. Check every fucking room. I'll bet they broke through the basement window too. Fuck! Now that he says it, breaking through the basement window might have been a better idea. Looking between a crack in the boxes, I get a flash of the weasel walking past the door again. He's holding something long and shiny. I shrink back against the boxes, wondering how in the world I got here. As I stare at the ground, I also wonder if I'm about to have a heart attack. I focus on watching the blood seep from my arm, pooling on the wooden floor next to me. I hear a key go into a lock and a doorknob turn. I swear to God, if that wolf ain't down there, I'll blow your goddamn face off. Duke's voice fades away, accompanied by receding footsteps down the stairs. The heavy footfalls of Brian start to move around slowly toward the other end of the hall. Kudzu moves his hand up to my shoulder. I look at him, and he holds a finger to his lips, then points in the direction of the broken window. I don't want to move at all. In fact, I'd rather sit here and just disappear into the floor. Somehow, though, I'm able to force myself to my feet as Kudzu tugs me up. We move very slowly to the doorway, and there Kudzu holds up a hand, making me pause. I watch his ears perk, flicking in the direction of Brian. My hearing probably isn't nearly as good as his, but I'm still able to pick up the bear's heavy, labored breathing. I hear some shuffling, then more heavy footsteps. Kudzu freezes as we both listen to the bear move back into the hallway. Then his footsteps fade away. I imagine he's moved into another room, and that's when Kudzu finally peers around the corner. I hold my breath, and Kudzu reaches back and grabs my wrist, pulling me out into the hallway. It's empty, and as quietly and as quickly as we can, we move to the end of the hall and stand next to the broken window. Kudzu sticks one leg out the window before balancing his entire weight on both hands that are resting on the bottom ledge. Like a gymnast, he moves the other leg out and quietly drops to the ground outside, his head narrowly missing the top ledge. I don't know if it's because he's a raccoon or an actual gymnast, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to do that. Kudzu's already reaching for me, though, his eyes wide with frantic worry. I can hear shuffling sound behind me again, coming from one of the rooms. Kudzu reaches out towards me, then suddenly waves his hand wildly in a direction of the room right next to me. Heart pounding, I almost stumble through the doorway into the room. This one has a few chairs stacked up against the side of the wall and what looks like a closet door. Brian's footsteps thump down the hall, and I almost gasp as I get a glimpse of his massive shadow through the doorway. But then it disappears as I hear his footsteps move into the room right next to me. From just inside the room, I see Kudzu slowly pop back up in front of the window, then motion frantically towards himself. My legs are like jelly, though, and I hesitate. Then there's a raspy dragging sound in the room next to me that almost makes me jump. It's the sound of a cardboard box being slid across the floor. I hear Brian mumbling. Definitely not paint. I force my numbed feet to stumble out into the hallway toward the window. Kudzu reaches for me, his eyes desperate, but then I hear shuffling behind me again. Why is he moving so fast now? Automatically, I step back into the room while Kudzu continues to beckon to himself. Brian's lumbering footsteps move down the hallway, slowly in my direction. Kudzu is ducked back down out of sight. I'm alone and trapped. I remember the closet at the last minute and lunge toward it, not having enough time to worry about the sound I make. Somehow the closet door glides open with hardly a sound, as if the hinge had just recently been greased. I step inside and swing the door shut, trying not to let it snap closed. At that exact moment, Brian's lumbering gait enters the room. I shrink back against the wall, holding my hands to my mouth, trying not to breathe. My heartbeat is so loud, it's the only thing I can hear as it pounds in my ears. I hear coughing and grunting coming from behind the door. Then it goes quiet. I wait, unsure of whether the bear has left or not. Slowly, I walk up to the door, pressing the side of my head gently against it. I listen, trying to see if I can hear anything. I swallow, then reach up to rest my hand on the doorknob. I think about making a run for it, maybe trying to dive through the window. I might get hurt, but if I'm able to get away. I wait for what feels like 2 or maybe 3 minutes. It's complete silence on the other side. I wait even longer, to the point where I'm sure that there's no way someone like Brian could keep that quiet that long. So slowly as I can, I push the door open. And it immediately comes into contact with something on the other side before it's even a foot open. It soft, whatever it is, and the door almost bounces back from it. I wait for a moment, then as I'm starting to realize what just happened, a massive bear paw reaches around the edge of the door. In the next half second, the door is ripped open and I find myself facing Brian. A weird numbing feeling spreads down from my crotch and up into my legs, and I sag in front of the bear. My mind refuses to think, to even process what my eyes are seeing. What it does process is pure terror. Brian seems to have trouble understanding what he's seeing as well. He stares at me for a few seconds, his eyes practically crossing as he focuses on me. Then he grins. Hey, you! I can't respond. Instead, I press back into the closet, flattening myself against the wall as he reaches out to me. Still, there isn't much I can do as he grabs the front of my shirt and yanks me out of the closet. He starts to pull me towards the doorway as I stumble into the hall. I finally able to start trying to move again. Seeing the window, I lunge toward it, but Brian's grip was too strong. I hear a few popping sounds as some threads in my shirt give out, and Brian yanks me back violently. Everything goes black as something massive knocks up against the side of my face. And the next thing I know, I'm thrown down the hall, flat on my back. I'm staring up at the ceiling, watching it slide sideways above me, like it's painted onto a treadmill. My right foot is hiked into the air, and I realize that Brian's dragging me along the floor now, back toward the end of the hall. The fur of my back glides easily along the hard wood, my shirt scrunching up to my chest. Brian stops as he reaches the white door, pushing it open.